Hey guys, just got done watching 2009's Laid to Rest. Yep, that's right. 2009's Laid to Rest. With a nice slipcover. Ooh, shame about the sticker. Anyway, I can't believe it. I watched the movie and I have to admit, to a degree, I'm a bit like, because I've had so many good reviews about it. I'm like, is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Let's go through the plot. So first of all, who was in it? Bobby Sue Luther was the girl, the main character. Kevin Gage was Tucker. Lena Headey was Cindy. Can't believe she was in this movie. Sean Whalen was Stephen. Richard Lynch was in the movie, even if it was just for 5 minutes, as Mr. Jones. He was Major Krause in Puppet Master 3. Jonathan Skaich was Johnny, Thomas Dekker was Tommy, Nick Principal was Chrome Skull, and Janet Kramer was Jamie. So, basically, the movie starts out with Bobby Sue Luther, that girl, waking up in a coffin in what only looks like a funeral home to me, and she's like, and she basically rolls it over and it opens. I'm like, this one, like, oh, this looks pretty interesting. It looks like this is going to be a crazy film. So, then you see Mr. Jones. Am I right? Yeah, Mr. Jones, Richard Lynch. Who's only in it for like a few seconds, and then he runs off. And then she ends up in this room where she sees all these dead bodies and stuck in there. And he goes, let me get the keys. I got the keys. Let me help you. And he gets stabbed through the back by Chrome Skull. Chrome Skull wears like this mask which he uses stuff to stick on his face. And he has a camera on his shoulder, a bit like Predator did. You know, the red dot on people. And he has 2 blades, which is pretty cool. I liked it. You know. And basically she runs off. And she gets to meet Tucker and Cindy. Cindy played by Lena Headey from Game of Thrones, Dread, and so forth. And Kevin Gage as Tucker. So they take her in. They kind of help her. She screams in the shower naked. But she's like this, so you don't see anything. And Lena Headey's character Cindy goes to Stephen, not to Stephen, to Tucker. Oh, don't you dare try to sneak on her when I'm asleep. And you're like, has he done this before? Has he picked up strangers before on the highway and then tried to molest them? Bit of backstory there, character development. So, so basically, Lena Headey's in it for about 5 minutes and she gets killed pretty gruesomely. The gore effects in this are quite good. And then basically Tucker starts crying and they drive off, and basically Lena's brother and his girlfriend, they turn up because apparently he saw Tommy or Johnny, whatever his name was, he saw Tucker with this girl and he thinks he's cheating, so he wanted to go and tell his sister Cindy. But they see this other car with Chrome Skull on it. And Chrome Skull throws this big heavy knife that goes right through his cheek and goes, oh, and he kills the girlfriend. So Tucker's driving off and with that girl. I hate that, but her name's the girl in this because it's a bit annoying, you know, for the review. So he stops her and he goes, "Oh, if they haven't got a phone, then we're done for." And she goes, "Please, please drive off to another home." And he's like, "Oh no," and he does. But one thing that I didn't understand with this is no one's phone worked. That's right, no one had a phone and it never worked. Like, for instance, Stephen. They drive up to Stephen's home. It's got full internet connection. He's online. So where's his bloody phone? He reckons he hasn't got a phone. But don't you need a phone to have the internet? Like, I know you need a phone line for the internet, but wouldn't you have a phone? Oh yeah, my plumbing's messed up. I'm going to walk 100 miles. And the nearest police station apparently was 100 miles away. That don't make sense either. That's one hell of a long distance away to have a police station. Anyway, so they pull up to Stephen's, right? They knock on Stephen's door. He goes, hello. They go, have you got a phone? He goes, no, I've got the internet. I'll type to them. Sends them a message, blah, blah, blah. They end up running away, so forth. And then it ends up like a cat and mouse kind of thing. Tucker ends up going back to his home where he doesn't see his family dead because apparently their brother was going to turn up at 6 AM and he wanted to meet him there just in case something happened because he'd have a gun. And basically he didn't see the dead bodies outside. Then he drives back later on and it turns out that Stephen has actually let the girl, Bobby Lee Luther, get kidnapped by Chrome Skull, and she wakes up and basically she's in a coffin again. But before that, she basically gets in there and there's all these dead female bodies, and there's one lady who wakes up on top of one and she's like, help me, help me, help me, please. And instead of just cutting her easily, she goes, oh no. Oh no! And then when Chrome Skull comes towards her, she throws the knife at him, and it hits the light thing, goes on the floor. Why would you throw your knife? Why would you throw your weapon? So he kills the girl. He just kills her like gory like, and he shoots her up with an injection. She wakes up in the coffin again in that room. Tucker and Stephen go in there. Tucker gives Stephen a bit of a beating, you know, like verbal. Like, yeah, could you let her be taken? You bastard. You know, like that. So they go in there and basically he shoots Chrome Skull, bang, 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 bang. And he reckons he's hit him. And so they go searching through the coffins. And basically they find her. They're looking because the camera's on top of her one. They look on the camera and everyone's go, and it's quite a good little shock, you know. And they get her out. As they're getting her out, what's his name? Stephen drops a bullet. And basically, it goes on this girl's open chest area and then it falls inside. And you're like, Stephen, you geek. What are you doing? Ah. So they get her out. They run off and they drive off in his car. And basically, they've got his phone. They find his phone. They're like, oh, it's password protected. And they're like, what are we going to use? What could the password be? Oh, try die. D-I-E. No. Try coffin. C-O-F, you know, whatever. No. Try, oh, and then Tucker gets behind the car and goes, I got it. Try this. Chrome Skull. I think that was just to kind of name the character, so that you go, oh, so that's the character's name. Awesome, Chrome Skull, and I did like that name. To be honest, I'm not making fun of it. I actually like the name. So they're doing that, and then Stephen goes, I'm going to look in the car where he finds his dead mother, who died, whose funeral it's supposed to be at some point. And he goes like this, and Tucker goes out there and comforts him, and basically she drives off. And she ends up pulling up at this kind of like grocery kind of 7-Eleven kind of store. And there's two boys in there and this boy behind the counter. And she's like thinking, then Chrome Skull turns up and the boy who's in the shop goes outside with a shotgun and he threatens Chrome Skull, but Chrome Skull pulls out his knife. His knife, yeah, he's not scared. He's going like this, he's got his knife. And just as the boy's about to shoot, grabs out a shotgun, pushes up and shoots, blows the guy's brains everywhere. It was a great, great scene. Made me want to do it myself. Anyway, just thought I'd put that out there. So, the two boys inside, one goes and ends up getting... The other boy goes outside, gets in the car. And he's waiting for her. So she's all scared because Tucker goes to her. This is best bit. Tucker goes, because he gets Stephen. Because Stephen and Tucker turn up. And Stephen gets this aerosol thing, pushes in. His head basically blows up. Tucker says to her, if I don't make it, as Crime Skull's walking around the counter, if I don't make it, remember, you're special. And then he walks off, and you're like, nowhere in this movie has she been special at all. She's whined, she's cried, she's done nothing, she's, you know. So, there we go. He goes up to her, obviously Crime Skull dispatches him. She climbs in the freezer thing, you know, behind American freezer departments, grocery stores, they got the back bit with the actual freezer bit. You know, like the refrigerator in the refrigerator kind of thing. They have that, and she goes there and she hides, and basically she's holding the radio and there's this thing. And he puts the camera down and she goes, I know who you are. I know who you are. And he goes, and he sends her a text. But do you know who you are? And then he puts his camera down. She picks up the camera, presses the button, and watches herself. And it turns out she was a prostitute that he hired. This was the whole story. This is about, because through the movie, she's got no idea who she is. And you want to know who she is, and you're like badly going, oh, I wonder what she was. I wonder who she was. Was she some important person? Was she somebody like Laurie Strode from Halloween who just basically got mistreated? You know, no. She turned out to be a dirty prostitute who basically said to Crime Skull when he didn't have his mask on because he hired her, "Oh, do you want a Swedish blowjob?" And then she goes up to Cam and basically fondles herself a bit with her clothes on, and he hits her in the back of the head. Then you see him throw her on the bed and roll her up. So I'm guessing he put her in the coffin because he was going to kill her later, but she woke up. That's what I'm guessing, right? She's like this. She's like, and I'm like, bloody hell, what a great backstory that was. Oh, no. So then she goes, I'll give myself up. And he goes for her again. He puts his head straight through the glass thing. His mask comes off. And this is the most ridiculous part about the movie. I was like, how are they going to end this movie? Because this movie's, it's all right. It's not great, but it's all right, you know. And so his skull comes off, grabs his skull, puts some stuff in it again, like he does through the whole movie. And then he pours this other stuff on it. He puts it in his face and it starts burning his face. And basically pulls it off and his whole face is dissolving and he dies. So be it. Apparently he dies, right? So you're sitting there going, what the hell? What? You know what I mean? You're just sitting there thinking, is this really how it's going to end? She gets out the freezer, or the fridge, or whatever you want to call it, the fridge freezer thing. And you're like, he's going to grab hold of her, isn't he? He's going to have a superhuman ability, and he's going to grab hold of her, and he's going to jump on her. No. She leaves, she goes out the shop, gets in the car with the boy. She goes, where we going? He goes, let's go to Atlanta. She goes, Atlanta sounds nice. They drive off, and then the police turn up. And you're thinking to yourself, hold on, the police turned up. Oh, and then that's where it ends. And you're sitting there going, huh? So the movie was all over the place. Like they drove away from the killer. The killer would then turn up exactly where they were. Like they drive like 3 miles away, and all of a sudden, within a minute after they got there, he'd be there. Like Michael Myers. He'd be like going, hi Michael. Hello, I'm just going to kill my family, and then I'm going to head off and see my nephew. You know, boom. Anyway, so the movie, I really enjoyed the effects. The special effects on the movie were fantastic. If you want to watch a movie with good, like, gore special effects, this is the movie for you. The acting wasn't fantastic, but I wasn't quite dreadful. I'd say it was in the middle. I mean, it was a hit and miss every now and again. And I was sitting there after time going, when's the good stuff going to happen? Because I got bored of Stephen Chucker and Bobby Sue Luther talking all the time. It was like, and there's a bit where she's in the car. And all of a sudden, Chrome Skull turns up and gets in the car and drives off with her. And you're sitting there going, this shouldn't have happened. You know, it's like, why would you separate from each other when there's a killer on the loose and three of you are better than one? You know what I'm saying? The killer, in my view, Crime Skull, was pretty cool. He had like this suit on, and he had the skull on, the Crime Skull mask on like that, and he had the camera, like I said. And it was actually pretty cool that he was recording everything, as well as the fact that he walked like somewhere with extreme confidence. He reminded me a lot of like a more confident kind of Michael Myers, a little bit looser, who could run and who could just, you know, I like that because I thought that was pretty cool. But he didn't seem scared at all, and it kind of reminded me of the old villain, old horror icons like Michael Myers and Jason, where they just walk straight at you. That's what I liked. Also, there was a scene where there's a scene where they go to the police, the sheriff station, and there's dead bodies everywhere, like two dead bodies, and they get a phone call on the radio, and they go, "Is that you, sheriff?" And the sheriff goes, "Yeah, I'm in the closet." Well, Stephen goes, "There's no one in the closet," and Crime Skull just comes running out the cupboard to attack the girl, Bobby Sue Luther, and Tucker jumps in the way, even though she gets cut in the arm, and she's like, "Ah!" in the car. We just sit there going, these poor people pulled into her troubles, you know. I just like Lena Headey. What the hell was she doing in this movie? This movie doesn't feel like a low-budget movie in the filming because it's not got shaky cam, and it's actually well filmed. But to think she went from like this to like Dread and Game of Thrones isn't shocking, to be honest, because a lot of people are in low-budget films when they first start out. But it was kind of shocking to know it was only like a year before kind of thing, a year or two before Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones and Dread and that were probably a big break. But it was good to see her in this because it's always good to see kind of like an origin person, like when they're in the movie where they're not big, because it's always good to see it because it shows you how far they've come. So it was kind of good that she was in it. Bobby Sue Luther, she was okay. Basically, most of the time, you just want to see her breast bouncing. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Gage as Tucker and Sean Whalen as Steve, and they were pretty good. But after time, they just felt a bit forced with the acting. Like I said before, Richard Lynch was only in it for 5 minutes, and to be honest with you, I don't think I could have stand him anymore. Because every time I see him, I think of him as Major Kraus. And he was great as Major Kraus. So every time he came on screen, it was like this. "You want to get your puppets? Your puppets." I can't do a German accent. Slide, like, you know, whatever, right? But there wasn't that big of a cast in this, and a lot of them were hit and miss. But the main characters were pretty good, you know, on and off. I just thought it was a bit over the top sometimes. You never really found out why Crime Skull was killing people. I guess he was supposed to be more scary because he was just doing it because he wanted to film it, I guess. But it didn't come off scary like that. There was some good like shock factors, and there were some good jumpy moments. I didn't jump, but I could see where others would, especially if you're watching it in the dark. There is a sequel called Laid to Rest 2. Now, I've got it coming on Blu-ray so I can watch it and review it, because I don't like watching one movie and not watching the others in a series. But would I recommend this? I'd recommend it if you like gory horror movies, ones that don't make sense but are pretty good slashers. Because this is a really good slasher, but there's a lot of plot holes in the movie where you're like, why are they doing this? What was the story? I'm guessing the story was basically that she was a prostitute and he hit her over the head. I'm guessing that was what the whole thing was about. So it's a little bit, you know, hit and miss, but most cheap slasher films are to a degree. But if you like the kills are pretty good. If you like the action's pretty good. I'd recommend it to die-hard slasher fans or horror fans, especially gorehounds. And I'd recommend it to people who kind of want to say something a little bit different but similar. But I won't give it a high rating because it felt like I've been there, I've done that. But the gore was good, so I'm kind of mixed because I liked it on one hand, but on the other hand I didn't. because I felt like it offered a lot, but at the same time it didn't deliver, if you get what I'm saying. But it's a fun film if you can forgive the plot holes. If you can just follow the Bobby Sue Luther's character's kind of really, really thin plot, you can kind of enjoy it a lot more. The other characters, they don't develop so well either, and that's the problem. So I'd probably give this a 2.5 because it was okay, but it wasn't good enough. And yep, I know that a lot of low-budget horror movies are not fantastic. But when something starts off with a fantastic premise and you feel like it's going to really go somewhere and it doesn't deliver on that promise, you kind of feel a bit disappointed like I did. Especially when it's got a cool cover as well. But isn't that the same with every movie? You know, cheap movie, which has one. But yeah, I'll give it a 2.5. I recommend it to people who like cheap budget horror movies because it doesn't feel like it with this movie. It feels like a bigger budget movie, but it isn't. So yeah, let's lay to rest, guys. I recommend giving it a go if you don't mind plot holes, if you love gore, and if you love slashers, because it's quite good in that sense. But the plot, you know, very confusing and doesn't really deliver either. So thanks for watching, guys. Expect Later Rest 2 review at some point. And thanks for watching, and take care and have a lovely day. Thanks for watching.